Welcome to our podcast, designed for psychologists, therapists, and counselors who want to take their business online and live a soul-nourished and profitable life without compromise. If you want to know the secrets used by practitioners just like you to navigate the global e-learning market successfully, then you're in the right place. I'm Dr. Tilean, chartered psychologist, business mentor, and your host, and welcome to the Abundant Practitioner Podcast. The misconception is that in order to receive more, in order to receive more, in order to be accomplished, right, and succeed in whatever that means for you, right, that means piling more on the plate. And that means, how do I duplicate myself, right? That means, how do I create more hours in the day that don't actually exist? That means like scrambling. That means, let me try this and let me try this and let me try this and let me try this. And what happens is, even though there may be a desire and even a value as well to be soul nourished, to actually do things in a way where you nourish yourself and you serve from your overflow, the way in which you're structured, your business, your career, your life, it doesn't work out that way. And so those things that do nourish you get pulled out and you enter an exhaustion funnel. You enter a space where actually you identify in your body, in your mind, in your soul, that you're out of alignment, that you're tired, that you're disconnected, that you can't even necessarily think straight. Your creativity maybe start feeling slower. You might feel sluggish, all different ways it can present, right? Snappy, whatever ways it might present in your business, in your life, in your career. And I really felt called to do this roundtable on the Calm CEO. One is, like I said, in the academy, I run a 12-month business academy, and we was literally talking about the topic, the theme at the moment is simplify to amplify. And we were really rewriting the scripts, rewriting the narratives of what it means to actually be successful, right? Accomplished, right? To lead as a CEO, to lead your mission, to lead your vision, and do that from a place that is calm, do that from a place that is regulated, do that from a place that is soul nourishing and also soul aligned. And actually, when we go into that space, what if you could actually accomplish more? What if the rule, the thought process that the perspective you have currently potentially chosen to be true means that to have more, I need to do more, right? What if that was a false perspective? What if there's another way to look at it, right? By false meaning that it's not going to necessarily turn out calm. Yeah, right. Like, by doing more, you can have more. We can all do that. Scramble more, do more, put on more, pile on more. But at what cost? At what cost is that? And so actually, could there be more gain on all levels, right? I'm not even like, common misconception is that it's that if I step into that space, that place, that zone of being the calm CEO, I'm going to sacrifice other things. But what if that didn't need to be the case? What if actually you could grow and scale in a calm CEO manner? And that's what I really want to invite in this room today, in this conversation today, around that actually, if you scale from a place of survival, hustle, right? Even if on the outside, I love what's been shared in this room as well already, even if on the outside presentation is, I'm a calm CEO. But behind closed doors, if you're a calm CEO, right? So that's what I'm talking about, how that behind closed doors, you can be the calm CEO as well as outwardly, presentedly as well. And some of you may be out on the outside, you're not presenting as the calm CEO. You like, people could look and say, you are, you're overworked, you're overtired, and almost maybe even been using that as a badge of honor. right? Been walking around with that, being, oh yeah, I'm just so busy, I'm so full up, there's so much to do. Oh gosh, I'm just so stressed, right? And you're just saying these things out of your mind, because also it's like, if I'm seen that way, then I'm more accomplished. So actually, I'm going to even speak it even more, right? And when you speak it even more, you literally create a whole self-fulfilling prophecy of like, this is how you want to be and how you live, even though that's not what you want, right? I always speak about how the words have power, right? How we operate and move in our lives, right? It's with the words that we speak and what we say and what we claim about ourselves and our identity really hold you in your identity. And you can get to shift that by changing and noticing first, even if you don't necessarily change it first and foremost, but actually notice, where have I been claiming busy as cool, right? Busy is great, busy is established, busy is successful, right? Busy is just like, oh yes, who's the busiest? I'm busier than you are, right? And it becomes that bit of a game. Yeah. And so if you scale from that space, if you really go from that notion of do more means have more, right? Or make more impact, right? To get bigger, right? Means more stuff. And you do that in a place where you're fragile, the business is fragile, the systems are fragile, like there's not space for it. All you're going to do is replicate or scale at another level in even more dysfunctional, dysregulated way. And at some point, that's going to, right, break. And hopefully it's not you. Yeah. So it's around like recognizing that actually, when you are scaling requires strategy, and scaling requires spaciousness. Strategy and spaciousness to execute soul-aligned strategy, not just strategy of like, let me just throw things out and hopefully it sticks, right? But actually scaling in a way that is, do you know what? I am in this space that I want to be able to think and execute, and I have spaciousness to do that, right? Versus trying to scale when you're trying to hold things all together, right? Bundle it all up. So to be the person that is scaling the mission, the vision, right? The business, yeah, regardless of where you are. And I know there's a mixture of people in this room. Some of you are full-time in your business. Some of you might be doing your business alongside other work or whatever, wherever you are in your journey, right? It's about recognizing that if you are going to accomplish more than you've already accomplished and do that as in a way without burning out, you've got to invite spaciousness into your world. You've got to also invite strategic thinking and strategic execution into your world. And that starts by firstly understanding and having an awareness of, actually, I am dysregulated. Because sometimes people don't even realize that they are dysregulated. They're just in go, go, go mode. And that's what has been taught to them. It's been passed down. It's just passed down from generations to generations to generations. They don't even know that when they sit down to rest and they like, oh, what else could I do? What else could I do? Like that is an issue. It's just become part and part of, that's how we operate. Right? I've got to keep going. I've got to keep going. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Let me fill up all the time. Yeah. And so first becomes an awareness, because awareness is the first step in any behavior change, right? And those of you that know me, you know, I've been doing business 10 years, over 10 years now, right? I've been in the online world. I'm a health psychologist by background, right? It's all about behavior change. Behavior change starts with awareness. Awareness gives you the strength and capacity to change things, right? You've got to start by awareness. And so the first thing I want to talk about today is that awareness of, how do you even know that you are dysregulated? How do you even know that you are operating in survival, in hustle? And some of you're internally, you just know, right? And so you're like, I just know something's not right, right? That I'm out of alignment. But I want to build into this so you really understand actually what signs are showing up in your body, in your emotions, in your life, in your patterns. Okay. And so it's really important to tune into that so that you know what's going on. You can identify it more. Yeah. Physical signs are something, right? The physical signs you may notice within your body. Yeah. Sometimes people even override it. That's why I say may notice it. They notice, but they don't really notice because they just go, go, go. Right? But shallow breathing, right? Tight chest, anxiety, headaches, jaws, clenched, right? Sleeping with tight jaws, grinding teeth, tense shoulders, trouble sleeping, right? Stomach issues. Yeah. Feeling tired but can't wind down, can't slow down. So the body will carry tension in different ways and will give you signs if you can hear and see it, right? And feel it. But it's to be able to tune in and know that actually my body has been giving me signs. And maybe when I'm saying this, some of you may be thinking, actually, there are things that I've been noticing that would indicate that I am dysregulated. And that's why I'm here today, right? But maybe some of these things are like, actually, I didn't even clock that, and actually I need to start thinking about that more. The other thing is like the emotional signs or the thinking signs, like you can't seem to think clearly enough, right? Or maybe your thinking is quite defensive. You become like a bit more snappy, oh, right? In that way, thoughts are racing, struggling to make decisions, overthinking everything, overwhelmed by maybe even the simplest task, right? Feeling frozen, feeling checked out, feeling like, what if, constantly in fear cycles, right? The inner dialogue is more in fear than in trust. The inner dialogue starts to be like, can I do this? What if this happens? What if that happens? Right? It's fear, it's operating from a fear perspective. Yeah. And then there's behavioral signs that will happen as well, right? So the behavioral signs is those things where you maybe avoid showing up in your business, avoid doing the marketing, avoid doing what needs to be done. Yeah, when I say to people, if you just had 1 hour a day for your business, you could still move your business forward in really great ways. It's just that 1 hour, you probably, if you're not regulated, doing things that don't really move the needle. Yeah. And so it's about recognizing, like, is there behavioral signs? Am I over delivering? Am I overworking? Is there behavioral signs in terms of when I audit my business or when I do a business health check? One of the things that I do with them in the academy is a monthly business health check. If I look at my business health check and my business health check is constantly saying, no clients, no money, or up, down cycles and things, what's going on there on a regulation piece? Is there something going on there? Is there procrastination operating, right? Is there like super reactive to your inboxes, super reactive to your messages, super reactive with your team? Like there's just urgency, urgency, urgency. Is there hustle, hustle, hustle? Yeah. Or is it just frozen? Like you want to actually do stuff, but you can't, right? You're like, I really should be working on this. I know I should be working on this. Is this my calling, right? Like the people that find me, right? The people that are in this room, I really believe that what you are here doing within your work, within your business is your calling, is your God-given destiny. It's like you have been called on assignment to do this. So when you are having these feelings and thoughts and behaviors playing out, it doesn't feel good, right? Because it's like, actually, like, I don't want to operate in this way, right? It's not necessarily a conscious choice. If you could choose differently, you would, right? But it's about understanding and recognizing the signs of what's going on. Yeah. So, and then the other thing as well, there may be as well spiritual signs, right? Inner knowing signs, signs of like, I can't hear clearly. I can't even feel into my vision. There might have been a stage, you know, like when you first get the gift of like, I'm meant to be doing this, and there's all this creativity, and it's like, oh, I could do this and that and that and that. And then it's like you just feel blocked in a sense of like, I can't even, hell, there's so much internal noise going on, maybe disconnected from purpose, right? So maybe in a space where you've been just moving, but it's actually not purpose-driven movement, right? You're scrambling, you're hunting, you're leaning so much into self-sufficiency, right? In terms of like, where can I find, what can I do? Where can I find, what can I do? How do I figure this out? What's this course? What's this webinar? What's this thing? Let me buy this thing. Let me try this thing. Let me do this thing. You know, let me make it click. Let me make it work. Let me make it work. Yeah. Am I enough? Do I know enough? Do I have enough? Right? Should I learn more? Should I qualify more? Should I do all of these stuff? Right? Scrambling. Yeah. Has it been helpful for me to talk through the different signs? Yeah. Because it's really important to recognize, right, these signs of when your body, your mind, your spirit, like all of these things, your behaviors are indicating dysregulation. Because this is what happens when you become, therefore, the most hardest working person and feel like I'm stuck. I'm doing all the things. I'm doing all the things, Tilean. Why is it here? I'm doing all the things, right? Or I'm stuck. I've been doing it. I've been going at it, you know? And it's because the way in which you've come to believe, right? Through modeling, through conditioning, right? Through no fault of anybody other than like environment, right? We learn, that's how we learn, right? But we get to a place where we can choose differently. Each and every one of us can choose differently. And so this is not a blame game, a shame game, or anything like that, right? It's about just creating awareness of actually, yeah, that speaks truth to me, and I no longer choose that as my truth, right? I no longer choose that as my truth, right? I choose to learn differently. I choose to be supported differently, you know, and how that gets to change is by setting up different systems. It's by allowing in support. It's by setting up, when I talk about systems, I'm talking about business systems, but I'm also talking about your own self-management and energy systems, right? It's about like just inviting support in and recognizing I don't have to do this all alone. I'm not all alone, right? None of us are all alone anyway on it. Yeah, we're all part of a bigger universe, right? And, you know, many of you here might even have the belief, like I do, God is leading the way. Yeah. But we're all interconnected, right? In all that way. And it's about recognizing actually, I can create calmness also by recognizing it doesn't have to, I don't have to claim it as all on me, right? You know, and all the hats. And when you think about like the various hats you might wear, almost feeling overwhelmed by it as opposed to being calm within it, right? So feeling again of that badge of honor of like, I'm the mom and I'm the you know, the person that holds the church group, and I'm the person that does the walking group, and I'm the person that everybody calls when there's a problem, and also I'm the CEO, and also this and that, you know what I mean? And again, it becomes this whole scarcity way of thinking about time and about capacity, when actually you have the capacity. You've been gifted the capacity. You just need to be able to see it. And you can only see it when you start regulating yourself. And when you start regulating yourself and then you allow yourself to be able to see what you need to see, you'll be able to operate the way you need to operate. You'll be able to learn what you actually need to learn instead of making decisions which are more scrambly, because you're operating from a place that is dysregulated. And so you're making decisions and choices that don't actually match up to the vision, right? That don't actually match up to where you're going and what you're doing. You actually think, but logically it does feel like it, because the mind is going to override and say, oh yeah, that's going to sort it out. That makes sense. That's what we need to do next. But because you're making those decisions from that place of like not honoring yourself, right? Truly honoring yourself and honoring the mission, honoring the vision, and saying, actually, what serves the vision? What serves the greater good of the vision? And making decisions from that place. Yeah. You can then step in places where it feels like you're taking 10 steps back before you take 10 steps forward. Right? So let's talk about the ways to calm the nervous system, right? To regulate yourself. Yeah. There's many ways, and some of you may be open to various different ways about regulating the nervous system. And I just want to share some of the ways that I really talk about. But there are so many ways, right? And you can research and look more into it. But the ones that I really speak of are really from a faith-based perspective as well, of how you can do that. But it is about making sure that you really are ensuring that there's rest and restoration within your body, right? Within your body. Now, when we speak, right, our words have so much power, right? Like our words have so much, right? So speaking, right? Speaking out what you no longer are tolerating, speaking out what you're claiming as your new identity, right? Speaking out words, speaking out your prayers, speaking out words of affirmation, right? Loudly, like out loud, not in your head, right? Not in your head, but actually verbalizing it, speaking it out loud. It actually works on the vagus nerve. It's part of that parasympathetic nervous system, right? Which helps rest and restore, right? This is about like calming the nervous system. So when you speak out, your words, the vibrations of your words, they anchor through your body and they help you release, right? So speak it out and don't just think it. And this can be a real, depending on like, if you've never done that before, you can feel a bit like, oh, I'm speaking out like, shouldn't I just think what I want, right? Should I say it? Who's gonna hear me? All of the things, the mind's gonna creep up and say all of this stuff, right? But your body is gonna like just respond so well by you speaking out and declaring positivity over yourself every single day. Every single day. Your mind is running riot every day, right? Yeah, all of us, right? It's got all these thoughts, all these decisions, right? What we're gonna eat is like there's so many thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts that you go through a day of just like, what should I cook for dinner? What should have we got for what's for breakfast? What the kids gonna have? Should I do this? Should I do that? Have I drank my water? Just so much, right? Is going on in your mind, and that's just around one topic. So if you think about all the different elements of things that are going on within you, like your mind's like, shh, shh. Your voice has got to override it and claim the identity of who you are, right? Who you are, whose you are, right? Claim and restore, right? Restore within yourself, within your body, and speak out, declare it. That is one way that can really help settle your nervous system daily. Right? So that is a practice I would definitely encourage people to have. Yeah. Music, the vibration of music, right? Shifts frequency. Yeah. Choose songs that are uplifting, that give positive vibrations. You feel it. You can't help but feel if there's music that plays, even if you're in a bad, like just want to tap your foot, move your body, right? So music is a way that can help you shift. Yeah. Breathing, right? Breathing, whether that's breath work, meditation, deep breathing, right? Deep breathing recenters you. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. If your mind wanders, bring in a scripture, bring in a mantra, bring in whatever is right for you, right? But you breathe in, right? Yeah, and breathe out. Okay. Allow yourself to do that. Allow yourself to have calming breaths. Allow yourself to know when any of those things are happening that I was saying before, to take a moment. Even if you was out at a networking event and you felt like that, all you have to do is go into the toilet and breathe, right? Yeah. Or go somewhere and just breathe and center yourself, right? Bring yourself back. Yeah. Writing, the written word. Yeah. Pen to paper, type in, right? But pen to paper is something else as well. Yeah. Different level of frequency, right? Writing out fears, frustration, right? Taking every thought captive. What is really the truth in this? How do I powerfully move forward from this? Right? These are different ways that you can restore and come back to calm, come back to center. Rest without guilt. Yeah. All right. Even God himself took a day for rest. All right. So taking rest, right? Restoration, connecting with nature, right? Laughter, fun, joy. Recognizing that those things don't have to come at the end of when I get X amount in revenue, when I get X amount in clients, when I get whatever, right? When it's my birthday, I can laugh, I can have fun. No, like, let's enjoy life now. Enjoy the journey. Yeah. These are things here. Making a weekly non-negotiable soul nourishment appointment, a weekly long bath, right? Jazz music playing, yeah, bubble bath salts, whatever, right? A weekly appointment with yourself, a weekly solo cafe day, right? A weekly, I'm just going to paint just because, right? A weekly massage, a weekly spa session, a weekly something where it's there. It's not I just have soul nourishment here. Make it daily, up it. If you're doing it weekly, increase it. Yeah. Increase it. Feeling good is a strategy, right? Boundaries. Yeah. Know when to say no. Increase your boundaries. Recognize that. How do I increase my boundaries? Because that's going to help me with my nervous system, right? So all of these things, when your body becomes and you like really respect you as being the vessel to the mission, right? And you honor that, you're able to move differently. You're able to make decisions differently. Yeah. When we think of like your schedule, one of the things in the academy is like really just setting out their time, right? Schedule first and foremost is like you're on mission. When are you going to make time? What do you do with your various times? Whether you're full time in your business, right? We need to know what zones you're using and when you're using them. If you're part time in your business, you need to know what zones you're using and when you're using them, right? And so really taking a moment to really structure that. I'd encourage all of you at some point today or within the next 24 hours to really sit down and say, like, where is my CEO zone? The CEO zone where I have time for visioning, the CEO zone when I have time for financial planning or team meetings, right? Or working out on my key performance indicators. All of these things, it's like taking your mission seriously. Yeah. How do I ensure that that zone is playing out? Right? How do I separate that and recognize as well client fulfillment zone? Those of you that are maybe here are working in ways where you're back to back to back to back with project, client, project, right? Your client fulfillment zone is packed up to the brim. How do you have time for any of the other zones? So that's where maybe there's a restructuring as well in terms of actually how your client fulfillment zone is shifted so that actually you could serve more in less time, right? So your client fulfillment zone, yeah. How do you do that? How do you scale that back in a full-time business, right? Of recognizing that actually, what about if 10 hours a week was just client fulfillment zone? Yeah, 10 hours, right? And still met your revenue targets, right? Project focused zones. This might be a focus zone of like maybe you're planning a retreat or maybe you're launching a podcast, or maybe you're setting up a new funnel or what it might be, right? That's a specific zone. Yeah. A visibility zone, right? When do you map that out? When is that? Right? Provision zone, right? Revenue, your business is not a business unless it's revenue generating. You've got to recognize that it's revenue generating. Provision is required as well for you to, none of us can pay anything out here with love, right? We've got to use money, which is the currency of exchange today. Okay. So the provision zone, like when is that? When am I focused on those pieces? And for some of you, that provision zone may be your 9 to 5, right? You're at work in your provision zone there, right? But you've got to find other time to do the other things for your mission. You're just in that season right now, and it's about accepting that as well, right? It's about accepting, actually, this is the season I'm in, and I'm going to make time for it. I'm going to honor it. I'm not going to fight with it. I'm not going to feel like I'm scarce or, oh, why me? You get to choose that. You've been chosen for that. Right? So just claim it, love it, enjoy it, and make time for the other elements as well. Soul nourishment. That's the soul nourishment zone. That's all about the nervous system regulation work that I've just been talking about. Yeah. Family zone or fun zone, however you want to term that, right? Fun. Have fun, laughter, joy. And when you're in that space, be very present. And also, when you come out of that space, don't feel like you have just taken away hours from another space, right? Because that's what can happen, is that people go into the fun zone and then they get out of the fun zone and they're like, now I've got to find back that 4 hours that I took to have fun because I didn't do that. Like, time does, like, we don't have to be anxious and scarcity around time. There is enough to be able to have all of these zones. Yes, you might be full up. Yes, you might be right now feeling like, I don't know how that is, but it takes a moment to just calm down, settle in, and restructure, because there is capacity. It doesn't matter if you're a single parent, got 5 kids, 2 cats, a dog, a rabbit, church responsibilities, right? Caring duties, and all the things. You have capacity. You wouldn't be given it if you don't have capacity. It's just about restructuring. Yeah. And there's the you zone, right? That inner work, that self-care, right? That soul nourishment, those pieces. Okay. So use that to think about as well, right? Is there a zone that I'm neglecting here in my life, in my business? Is there a zone that I'm being called to be more present? What is the fight around it? Why am I not doing this? What's my relationship with time, capacity? Yeah. Because the answer to moving forward as a calm CEO and receiving more is not to add more. People in a mindset perspective feel like they're getting hooked into, my business can make money if I do another qualification. I could make more money if I do another qualification. It's because I'm not qualified enough, despite that they've got like 10 million certificates. Oh, but I just haven't got that one. That skill. If I got that skill, that would like amplify my skills, and then I could charge more or something, right? Or if I actually, it's because I need to squeeze in another offer, right? I need to squeeze in another offer. Or actually, oh my God, I need to set up a different tech stack or whatever, right? There's more chasing. Yeah. Oh, look what that person said about doing something that way. I've got to do it that way. And so this is like literally trying to fix, like instead of fixing the problem that exists, you create more of the problem that exists. You just stack on more and more and more and more and more and wonder why nothing's happening. Right? And and so the whole thing, right, in the academy, I teach them how to build and scale their business as they build and scale themselves. Without doing the work on you, the growth that you're going to see on your business is going to be really slow and hard and just hard to maintain and scale in a soul nourishing and profitable way, right? The other thing is the way you look at things as well. If you feel like your mindset has been programmed that actually in order for me to succeed, I'm going to need, oh my God, I heard somebody say you need 7 different income revenue streams. So I'm going to have 7 different income revenue streams from the get-go, right? Like build one well and then add in the next one. Right? Oh, I need to have like 5 different audiences, and I need to have another qualification, right? And I need to actually not, recognize that it's all on me, but also that I'm scrambling for time because I've got to do this and this and this and this. And do you know my life, right? Leading to exhaustion, confusion, right? And actually all of the doing, and then the frustration that the revenue is not even reflecting the effort. So I really invite you to all from this conversation, right, of recognizing how could I simplify to amplify? How could I simplify to amplify? How am I going to choose to regulate my nervous system from this point forward? How am I going to choose to realign, right? These are the things I want you to really, really be inviting in. Is there a way that I could have one core offer or a offer suite that supports each other? It makes sense. What is my marketing rhythm that makes sense? Not, oh gosh, let me do this, let me do that, let me do that, right? What is my repeatable business system? What are the automations that I have in place that scale and don't drain? Yeah. So and doing that without changing the revenue goal. You don't need to lower it. The mind will tell you, how could I do it with one offer? How could I do it with one offer suite? How could I do it with one marketing rhythm? Right? The enemy of confusion is going to pipe right up and say it's not possible. But it is possible. Yeah. It's possible for you to have a soul nourishing and profitable business. So that's really like what I want you to invite in. How can I simplify to amplify? What would that look like if I looked at results? What would that look like if I looked at revenue? What would that look like if I looked at rest? What would that look like if I looked at reach, right? You all probably heard of like the 80-20 rule. Yeah, right? Like 20% is doing most of the work, right? So look at that. Strip away the 80% that's not. Easier said than done, I know. And that's where support and structure can help. Yeah.